Today, I'm going to show you all several ways to make rapid elevators in Terraria. Greetings friends, Khaios here. First and foremost, I want to announce that I am bringing back Commenter Day. What is Commenter Day? I hear you new viewers asking. This is a monthly video series where people make a build request in the comments, and then the top comment of the month gets their request made, within reason, in the next Commenter Day. Since we haven't had one for years, let's go ahead and leave comments on this video with a build request. At the end of the month, I will take the top comment from this video and fulfill that build request. While you leave that comment, let's move on. I've put out a few elevator designs in the past, all of which use the Hoik interaction, which for new viewers is the rapid movement of players, NPCs, and even items from one location to another, caused by being inside of a sloped block. The direction of the slope determines which direction you will be pushed, so you can essentially move up, down, left, or right rapidly using this interaction. It's a bit complicated to explain, and each directional movement requires a different specific setup, which I may cover in a future tutorial, but for the time being, we are going to be looking specifically at the up and down Hoik tracks as we are building an elevator. The most difficult part of interacting with a Hoik is figuring out how you get inside of a solid sloped block in the first place. And in the past, I've come up with a few simple designs plus one really overly complicated one. But recently, I've come up with an even better one. But before I get into all of that, there are only 2 days left for us to reach our sales goal of 200 plushie pre-orders. To help reach that requirement, Makeship has kindly given me a 10% discount code to offer to you all. Link and code are in the description and pinned comment. All up and down Hoik elevators will work with the same block shape pattern. This shape on either side of the tunnel will move players upwards. This shape on either side of the tunnel will move them downwards. You don't technically need sloped blocks on both the right and the left side, you can just pick one, but I built it like this because I think it looks nicer. So this part of the elevator is going to be the same for each design. The part that changes is how you get inside of a block. To tackle that problem, my first elevator design used wiring and actuators. I actuated the bottom two blocks of the Hoik track and wired them up to a player's sensor. This would activate whenever a player was inside of the blocks, making them solid and causing the player to be pushed upwards. The same concept was applied for moving downwards, but this has 3 obvious flaws for me. 1, it can only be used by one player at a time, not multiple players, making it not very multiplayer friendly. 2, it required an up and a down tunnel separate from each other. And 3, it required wiring that makes it not an early game design. So that got me looking into other design options that didn't require wiring. This ended up with some weird designs where you entered the elevator from the side, as that's much easier to do than jumping into it. I also found a pure platform design, as you can achieve a Hoik interaction with just platforms, but it's kind of pixel perfect, slightly janky, and far less reliable. These designs also required 2 tunnels, one for moving up and the other for moving down, so I tried to think of something more compact. My most popular elevator design to date has been one where you could go up or down using a single tunnel, which means it is the most compact design, but that has some drawbacks. For one, it's more complicated for people who don't know anything about wiring in Terraria. Also, it is not multiplayer friendly, as only one person can use it at a time, and sometimes the wiring components break on multiplayer servers. Also, due to the fact that it uses player logic sensors, you cannot build this design until after you defeat the twins, making it a mid-game contraption. So it wasn't possible to make this early game. While I was very proud of this design, I wondered if I could do something better for multiplayer since Terraria Season 2 was coming up. Something that was more compact than 2 full tunnels and requires no wiring at all. Block swap brought a lot of quality of life improvements to Terraria, but it had an unintentional side effect. Since we can block swap with platforms, if you have a block shaped into a direction that the platform can't usually make, and you block swap with it, it retains features of both the block and the platform. You can still walk inside of it as it is a semi-solid platform, but it also pushes you as if the block was solid. At first, I used this for trolling, as shown off in my pranking videos, but recently I came to realize how impactful this could be for other kinds of Hoik. You can now enter a Hoik easily from either the top or bottom of it by using this platform block swap interaction. That means I could design a wireless elevator that is totally reliable, even on a multiplayer server where several people can use it at the exact same time. Even better, all that you need to build this is 2 platforms, a handful of building blocks, and a hammer. It can be done at any point in progression. This elevator isn't quite as compact as its wired cousin is, as it requires a 3-block wide tunnel, but it is more compact than having 2 separate directional tunnels. Start off by making a line of blocks to act as a tunnel of the elevator with 3 blocks of space in between. This can be however long or short you need it to be. Now fill this tunnel up with blocks, shaping them into this specific pattern. Technically speaking, you only need blocks on the left side wall and the right side wall for this to be functional. However, you can get caught in the middle while running left during a transit. By adding another row of blocks down the center of the tunnel, we can prevent that, so instead of getting stuck, you are sent right back up to the top of the elevator automatically. Once the tunnel is filled in with blocks in this pattern, head up to the top. Block swap this top right block with a platform. Remember, due to the way that block swapping sloped blocks into platforms works, this is still considered a slope even though it doesn't look like it. You can now press down while standing over this to enter the elevator and you will be pushed down rapidly. Entering from the bottom is a different puzzle to tackle. I wanted to keep this wire free as well, and I didn't want to have to walk into it from the side as I like the idea of jumping in. You can't just block swap the bottom tile of the platform like you did with the top, because this shape is one that platforms can naturally make, so it doesn't retain both properties of the platform and the solid block. It just acts like a stair. When you hammer the platform into this lower position, a strange thing happens. There are 2.5 blocks of space between this platform and the block above it. That's too small for a player to stand in because we are 3 blocks tall. However, your player still tries to automatically step on top of a half-block platform when jumping onto them, and this is no exception. Make sure you break the middle tile next to the platform so it doesn't block you. Now, when you jump up, your character will try to stand on the platform, thus placing the top half of your head inside of a solid block, and as such, you enter the Hoik, and it pushes you rapidly to the top of the elevator. So this is the completed design, and I don't know if I'll be able to improve it any further. Up and down inside of one tunnel, albeit slightly wider than before. No wiring necessary, making it multiplayer and progression friendly, and it can be even used by multiple people at the same time. Instead of getting stuck inside of it, you get sent back up to the top, and all of its movement is incredibly fast. Just keep in mind that while you're moving downwards in this elevator, you're considered in a free fall. If you don't have wings or a lucky horseshoe, you're going to want to place a cloud block at the bottom of the elevator. Otherwise, if you all found this video helpful, let me know by leaving a like, and if you would like to see more Hoik interaction tutorials, let me know in the comments. I'd also greatly appreciate it if you could help the channel reach our next milestone of 400,000 subscribers by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. A huge thank you to my biggest supporters for the month: Matt Dragon, Nate Wiley, H.O.I.K, and Duke Samron. And be sure to check out my channel artist MythicalWater, linked in the description below. Thank you all very much for watching. Be back soon with a new video. Until then, happy building.